Hello YouTubers, I'm standing here in my backyard and my name is Viking Squid. I've given it a lot of thought about how I'm going to use YouTube to introduce you to different woodworking techniques, and I really need to probably start you out by simplicity and then work you into the more complex. So the first video that I'm going to make is one that's going to get you started in setting up your own backyard wood shop. Today's video is about sawhorses and how important they are to do the kind of work that you need to do. These right here are portable sawhorses. And they work great, but they're not for everybody because they're a little bit on the flimsy side, and most people just aren't carpenters like I am. Sawhorses are a pretty vital, important part about working on things in your backyard if you don't have a wood shop, because they give you a stable work platform. I'm going to use these portable ones to build me some more permanent ones made out of wood, because I need a place to set up my miter saw. So basically, like I said, these are handy if you're a carpenter because they're portable. You can move them around, but they're a bit on the flimsy side, so you don't necessarily want to use them if you don't have to. Okay, so we got a sawhorse. You need to have legs. You need to have a top of what I call a sacrificial board. See the saw cuts? That's to be expected with a good set of sawhorses. So we're going to make some, and the first thing that we need to figure out is this part, the top, how long we want to make it. And since what I'm making today needs to be about 48 inches long, that's what I'm going to go with, about 48 inches. So here's how I'm going to get that. I'm going to arrive at it like this. I'm going to start with a 2x4 and a tape measure, and I'm going to measure it out 4 feet. So I set my saw at 10 degrees, see, and then I cut the ends of the board at 10 degrees, see, and I cut them 48 inches long, just like I said I needed, which used the whole 2x4. Now I've got 2 of them. Next thing I did was I cut my legs, and to do that I'm getting 3 legs like this one. See if I can get a good shot of it. 3 legs like that one out of one 2x4, 8 feet long. Now you could probably buy 12-foot long 2x4s, buy 2 of them, and you get all 4 legs out of one. So you're building sawhorses, you really need to build them in sets. So buy 2 12-foot 2x4s and 1 8-foot 2x4 is really all that you need. Okay, so I cut my board 32 inches long, and I've got this compound angle on both ends, but it needs to be opposite each other, because basically you're going to be leaning, your legs are going to be leaning like this towards the sawhorse, and like this towards the sawhorse on the end. And the flat part here is your sacrificial board is going to be sitting on top of it. And in order to get this, here's what you have to do. You're going to cut your first piece with your saw blade leaning 15 degrees, or not, it's going to be leaning 15 degrees, but you're going to have it turned mitered 15 degrees to the left, and that allows you to cut your first one. Then flip your board over and change your miter to 15 degrees to the right and cut it again. That'll give you what you're wanting, your opposite cuts. See, I've got 4 of them identical, 4 identical for each sawhorse, 8 total, and you can get that out of 2 12-foot 2x4s. So to make some gussets, they're the plywood pieces on the sides of the sawhorses. They kind of give them strength and stability. I used plywood, 1/2-inch plywood. I cut it 20 inches by 14 inches. Then along one of the narrow edges, I found the center line, and from that I measured over 1.25 inches each direction. And then I used my speed square here to give it that 15 degree, that's the magic number, 15 degrees slant down each way. I screwed the plywood together, and then I used a skill saw to cut the gussets to look like this. That's what I'm going to use to start making. So to fasten the gussets, I first laid the saw legs like that, so that they're sitting good and flat like this. And then I take and I lay the gusset on top like this. I'm going to line it up so that when I squeeze it together right here, it's the same width. Line it up with the edge, and then I'm going to use this drill setup. See the countersink bit? And I'm going to countersink me some holes here, here, and here. So once you've screwed the gussets together, you'll end up with two pieces, one at each end. There's the first one, here's the second one. I'm going to line it up like that, drill some holes in the top to line up with the legs below. The legs are kind of turned in a little bit, so you got to move these two holes in a little bit closer than those two holes so that they all go into the legs. I'm going to use these composite wood screws. They're gray in color, number 8 by 3 inch. They're deck screws. That's what I'm using to screw this thing together. I like them because they have the fine thread and the coarse thread, and they just hold better. They kind of like seal up the hole. Now when I drilled these holes, I drilled them kind of deep because I do not want, in case I should have my saw blade running through there, I do not want it to interfere with that screw and hit, it'll ruin my carbide blades. So the last thing I did was put those 1x4 braces on, and what I needed to do that was a 10-foot 1x4 for each sawhorse. So to make two sawhorses that look like that, and let me show you a nifty thing about this. They stack. That's what's so nice about it. They stack. So to make these stackable sawhorses, what you need is